Law and Order can be nerdy.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas? Happy New Year? I don't know, but we're back, guys. Welcome back to the Nerd Age Podcast. We're talking about some Rebel Moon and some other news at the end of the episode, but I'm welcomed. I'm also joined by Jonah.
Hey, guys.
And Mick.
Hello.
And my boy, Choopaloo.
What's up?
Welcome to the Nerd Age Podcast. Let's get it going. We've got this big movie that's, well, we've been looking forward to for a very long time, Jonah.
That's
true. It came out last week.
It did, yes.
So Rebel Moon. We're talking about Rebel Moon, Zack Snyders' very own. Let's get into it, guys. Let's just jump into it. I watched it over the weekend, so over the holidays, with Bree. And it was a cool, 2 hours around that?
Yeah, 2 hours and a little over 2:05.
I will say, I'll start it off with visually, I think it looked good. But I think that there are some other issues, but let's talk about the good things.
And just so you know, we haven't really talked about this.
Yeah, we haven't.
This is kind of, Mick just watched it.
I literally just watched it.
So, I'm curious to see what they think. So we just want to talk about the good stuff.
Let's just talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
Are we doing full on spoilers?
Yeah, it's Netflix.
Okay.
You can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
And it's been a week.
Yeah.
Almost.
So for me, I think I'm going to probably be the one that likes it most on this table, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I thought visually it looked good. There were some parts that I was like, that looks a little cheap. But for Netflix standards, as far as like it's a streaming service, you're not putting the same budget as a movie in theaters. I thought it looked good. I even thought it looked good than some of the movies that I've seen that came out, like the Blue Beetle, The Flash,
Ant-Man,
Quantumania. Like I was like, this looks better than those, especially the ones that were where they had a set, like when they're on. Is it Vale? Is the planet right? Is that what it's called?
Farm Planet.
Sounds right.
Because they built a real set there. That looked really good. When they started going later on into the movie, into like some of the planets that were more CGI, you could tell it was like a sound stage, and it looked a little like claustrophobic, or you could tell it was like, it's not as cool looking as the one that was on the real set, but looked good. I thought the acting was good for the most part. There's like one or two characters that I was like, they weren't that great. But for me, I enjoyed most of it. I thought the Junkie XL's score was cool. There's some moments that reminded me of Man of Steel where the drums hit that I just thought was really cool. I thought the villain was a guy that you would just hated. I thought he did a really good job. What's his name? Ed? How do you pronounce his last name?
It's Screen.
But I thought he just had little mannerisms where when he talked, he'd go like, you know what, like just really cool stuff that I liked.
Oh my gosh, you look just
I looked just like him, didn't I?
Wow.
Sorry for those of you listening. I just made a
out.
face and it looked just like him. But yeah, for the most part, it was an enjoyable film. There's aspects of it that I felt were like really quick. It's a 2-hour movie. They're going from one place to another. There's not really any backstory, but it's just kind of like you go on the adventure and you just kind of have to just go with it. So I can understand some of the complaints there. But yeah, that's just kind of general thoughts. I'll let someone else talk for a little bit.
Go for it, guys. Take it away. Take away some good positive.
I've been waiting.
We're just positive right now.
Positive.
Well, what if there's no positive? Just kidding. I agree. Like visually, it looks really good. I agree with you. There were a couple shots with the CGI where I was kind of like, maybe not the best, but overall, I think like cinematography wise and like visual effects wise, it's really well done. There's a couple shots with Jimmy when Jimmy's talking to the girl and like the sun's kind of setting.
Yeah, those shots were
those
great.
shots looked really good.
But that's where Zack Snyder just shines.
Yeah.
Set
and I thought the action was good. It was, exciting. The swords, the like laser swords, or did they even call them anything? They don't mention them, right?
molten.
Yeah, the lightsabers or whatever.
Because there was different versions of those. Because the bad guys,
yeah,
armies,
they
had
bust.
blue ones.
They pulled one out.
So they were technically kind of laser swords, but
Yeah,
I don't know what they were.
I thought they looked really cool, and they like distinguished themselves enough from a lightsaber.
Because they left like a trail as they like swiped through the air, which is kind of
even the blasters. Yeah. The blaster shots are kind of like molten. They're not just like lasers. They were molten. Like they'd like hit steel. And they would kind of like have like a splash. So I thought was a cool look.
It was almost like it was shooting magma.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty cool detail. I actually did like that visually.
Like the smoke from the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so I liked all that
Got
stuff.
a little volcano gun. Sick.
And mostly what I liked the most was I think the world building was cool.
Yeah.
So like just setting up the politics that's going on, the different worlds they go to was cool, and then just like the different aesthetics. That's what I was most interested in, was like, oh, what's going on this planet, or even like the cantina with that weird like guy like. Alien
Parasite.
that's like controlling the dude. I was like, that's
crazy.
a cool.
That was a cool aspect.
That's cool sci-fi aliens, right? And I thought I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I think for me, we'll get into negatives later. But I think just setting up this world, I thought it was cool. And yeah, just visually, I thought it looked really good. The score was good as well. But yeah, I think that's what the positives.
What about you, Mick?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the score was like one of the first things that jumped out. Like, okay, that's a big part of why I dislike or like a movie. And the score was good, so that was a good check for me. But yeah, visually, I don't think you can ever really take that away from Zack Snyder's.
Right.
His movies look good visually, and then just framing and the choreography of fight scenes. Like, I think that's you can't ever take that away from his
bread
movies.
and butter.
Yeah, he always knocks it out of the park. So that was definitely shown in this movie for sure. But yeah, it was definitely more sci-fi than I think like your traditional A New Hope Star Wars. Like it just felt like kind of the more weird stuff with the tentacles and that. So that was cool to see that it was different and not just playing it safe and just being a carbon copy of Star Wars. So it was fun seeing it being a little more out there, a little more weird with certain things. But I would say for the most part, visually, music, the sound design was really fun. And the main character,
Korra.
I thought she's a really good protagonist, and I'm excited to see more from her in the second movie. But that might be the only really positive thing I can say about characters. I think I have most of my issues with the movie, I think, are just with other characters. But as far as good things, that I think she's interesting with her backstory, with her being basically an ex-space Nazi person. It'll be cool to see that play out more.
Nice. Corey?
Yeah, I think for me, there's a lot of really interesting things that he was trying to do with like different characters and different like story threads. Like for instance, I really actually liked Titus, but I didn't get enough of him.
Yeah.
But he had one little time where he had like a mini speech, and that speech that he gave, I really enjoyed. I was like, oh, I felt actually like a little bit of minor goosebumps going on a little bit. Yeah. Before they fought and stuff, before they did stuff. But that's kind of like the biggest positive was they introduced some pretty different characters. And I thought that was brave of them to kind of have a big variety of different characters. That comes with pitfalls, I think, in a 2-hour movie. But I love, I'm not going to talk about the visuals or the sound because I think we all are aligned on that. But I would say the other thing that kind of Mick brought up, I would reiterate, it didn't feel like Star Wars to me. It felt like its own thing. And I think his own thing that he was doing was unique. And if anything, I do want to watch the second one whenever that's coming out.
April.
Okay. Because I really want him to do more with it. Because I think there's some untapped potential.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Do we want to give our rating of it
Sure.
now, since we've all kind of just talked a little bit about it, we'll give our rating and then we can go and discuss like things we didn't like.
And maybe we can talk about why we have it rated at the point it is. Yeah, sure. So, Josh, what do you rate it? I think, we did talk very briefly during Christmas. I think you were around 6.5.
Yeah, I think it's...
Are you still there?
Have you rewatched it?
I haven't rewatched it. While I was working, I did watch someone rewatch it. I watched the real Rejects watch it. You know what I mean?
Did they like it or?
They liked it. I mean, it was more of I think the issues that you have with the movie is like pretty much the issue that everyone has with the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, but anyway, I think it's probably gone up a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Just thinking about it. And kind of like out of the corner of my eye, kind of watching someone else watch it. You know what I mean? Like seeing some of the scenes again. I was like,
or something
I was like, oh yeah, I did like that part. It's probably like a 6-7.
Okay.
It's not like huge. It's not a huge jump. I was like right around a 6.5.
Yeah.
I think a 6-7 is good.
So you enjoyed it, and you
enjoyed
a lot of parts of it, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I think mostly we can talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6-7. It's a good movie. It's an enjoyable movie.
I'll get mine out of the way. I think I'm at a 6.2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 6.1, 6.2, somewhere there. I have bigger issues with choreography. You guys are talking about how good it was. There's bigger issues for me with that. A lot of believability with characters I struggle with, and a lot of the story beats also wasn't very believable for me, and so that's kind of some of the things that are going to keep it back from maybe a 7 for me. But visuals, audio, great. Mick?
Yeah, I think I'm sitting at a 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah, just a lot of my issues come from the lack of character development from every other character. I just felt like they were too rushed, too kind of just skimmed over. I wanted more time with certain characters that end up betraying everybody. Like it didn't seem like there was enough setup to the payoff that the characters were going through in the movie. It felt a little weird.
Sure. Have you guys watched Seven Samurai? Classic, old school
a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys did watch it though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. Go ahead, Jonah.
No surprise here. Mine's going to be way higher than the score
it's
for you
8,
guys.
Right?
It's in the 8s for me.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And so it keeps going back between, I told you 8.4.
Yeah.
And it was like, I originally went 8.2 and then it was 8.4. It's back to like an 8.2 for me.
I mean, it's really
But
good.
the thing so I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was over in Seattle when it came out. Mm-hmm. Sleeping in a hotel room with my family, my girls, and then my wife's sister and her husband. So we were all like, I was like, I'm not going to watch it on a phone, like even though I wanted to. So I didn't watch it for a couple days, but all the reviews were coming out, and like the amount of people that were like, "This is the worst movie ever made." Like there was a guy on our TikTok channel that I put my review out of Rebel Moon, and he was like, you're crazy. He's like, this is the worst film of the decade. Okay. And I was like, there's no way. So, so when I watched this movie, I had a ton of people that were like saying it was how bad it was, the worst movie ever. And so the movie started so good for me, and I was like, okay, what are they talking about? And I kept waiting for it to be like, oh, now I see that sucks. But I was like, it never came. To the point where I was like,
blatant bad thing,
blatantly that I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Like MODOK shows up.
Yes,
right.
Like this was not like this was not Morbius. This was not anything close to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think that's what elevated it for me, because I was like, I enjoyed it the whole way through. Now I understand the complaints about really quick from one thing to another. Let's recruit this character. We don't really have a backstory of this character. Let's just go through. But I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, it's a part 1. I saw a lot of similarities with the structure of Star Wars, as far as like, you drop little things like in A New Hope, your father and I fought in the Clone Wars. No one knows anything what the Clone Wars were, but those little things that was done in this, whether that's Nemesis talking about, you know, the child that she lost, and Harmada the spider, which I thought was a cool fight and cool design. Mm-hmm. But those little things, those little conversations that you're not supposed to know exactly what they're talking about, but it's meant to be like, oh, we'll get to this later, but there's obviously something here. So to me, I saw a lot of similarities with Star Wars in that sense, where it was like, hey, we're just going to try to give you little tidbits of these characters, and then understanding that in part 2, you have all these characters assembled, and that's where you're going to have the moments where they're going to have conversations when they're training the farm people. Like, those are the moments where you're going to have those conversations with those characters when you've spent a little more time, or when the characters in the movie have spent a little more time. You don't just have Korra go to Nemesis and be like, hey, I just met you. Tell me about your daughter. It's like, no, there has to be a feeling of time has passed with them together, working together, for them to then give that information. So that's why I'm a little more okay with that aspect of it, where I see a lot of people being upset with that, because I'm like, well, there's a part 2 coming. But anyways, for me, it's an 8.2, and I really enjoyed it for the most part.
So I think my biggest complaint is that there's a director's cut. Because I feel like, and it's clearly Netflix just trying to double dip on views, essentially. Mm-hmm. But it's annoying because it's like, you're Netflix. Yeah. The reason they held everything. So if we talk about Zack Snyder and BVS, the studio was like, you got to keep it under 2 hours because that's ideal runtime for a movie in theaters. So you can get as many people in and make as much money. It's your own streaming service. You can do whatever the heck you want. People are pausing it, and people are binge watching 8 hours worth of shows. Yep. So it's not a time issue.
No, it's not.
So it annoys. I think that annoys me that it's like, because I saw Zack Snyder was like, the director's cut's a completely different movie. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, that's not good.
So here's my pushback to that. I don't think the people that are complaining more about the character stuff, development, I don't think the director's cut is going to have more of that. I think the director's cut is just going to have more sex, more violence,
naughty things,
and more language. Because I've even seen some videos where they're like, it goes like over the top. Like the guy that plays Noble, the villain, Ed Skrein, he's like, my character, most of this stuff was cut because he's just a terrible person. And he's like, the stuff we got away with that I was like, Zach, what are you doing? Like, I would suggest things and Zach would go way over the top. So I have a feeling, I'm not sure I'm going to like the director's cut. That's what I'm a little afraid of. I don't know if there's going to be that much more exposition to developing the characters, as much as more violence and unnecessary scenes that were just meant to push it over the top. Yeah. Does that make sense? That's my concern.
Well, then that's more concerning, because I was thinking that the director's cut would remedy some of the issues that I had of it just being like, you know, like we're talking, it's okay, I got a list of people, let's just hit them up. You know what I mean? It was like, one after another, we're on this planet now. Let's get a cool intro action scene, and you're on the crew. Get on the plane. You know,
it felt very like formulaic.
Dude, can I just say the Titus one was the worst? Oh,
which one? Clean him up.
Let's get this general.
The general.
Okay, yeah.
He's
that was
drunk
the worst.
on the street. Yeah. Let's clean him up. He's still drunk. You want revenge?
And the little speech, yeah.
Gosh dang it. It wasn't even. It was such a one sentence. It was so short. Yeah. It was a joke. I laughed because I was like, there's no way we're here. And now we're past this. Like, it was like 3 sentences. It was like, how about revenge, my brother? And he's like, let's go. It's like, bro.
Yeah.
So that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be more. Like, I would say you brought up Nemesis. That was the best one.
Yeah, that was the best one.
That was the only one that, for me personally, was at an acceptable level, where you very quickly, bang, bang, show and give a little bit of heart to the character, and you understand the justifications on why they're doing their actions. And there's a little bit of camaraderie gained, kind of. I wish they would have joined in and helped her. It was just kind of this showman thing, like, you know, I'm going to do this thing. We're going to watch you. okay, yeah,
Yeah.
join me. But you know why? There is just a lot of
That's a
gaps.
giant spider. I wouldn't have
story-wise.
helped. I hate spiders.
I think that one's
But that was the best one.
That one's the
Yes,
best one
yes.
because it also shows. I can't. This is the other problem. I don't know anybody's name.
Sure. But that comes with
Nemesis,
Nemesis.
Titus.
Titus. That's all I
Gunner.
got.
Gunner. Which one? was
Gunner is the farmer guy.
Okay, so Gunner, because in that scene he goes in and helps the girl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like one instance where you're like, oh, you've been like standoffish the whole time,
Yeah.
and now you're kind of like stepping into like, oh, I need to help these people.
Right.
So that was, I think, probably the best one.
that was the best
because
one.
you saw more of teamwork coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Because all
Some
the
good character development.
yeah,
on
good
his
character
part.
development.
Yeah.
Because all the rest for me, and I think that's my biggest complaint was like, I mean, I was along for the ride, but I was like, well, okay, well, and I honestly didn't feel attached to any character.
Well, can I ask you guys this? The guy who picked her up and then later, spoiler, betrayed them. Was that some crazy reveal for you guys? Because it wasn't for me.
And that I think that was
It wasn't.
one of my issues with the like lack of setting up.
Yeah.
Like I felt like there wasn't enough seeing him as like a good good teammate.
Yes.
Like it just was like, oh, I guess he's
Oh, it breaks
betraying
my heart
them.
that he
Okay,
betrayed
yeah.
them.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, there
I
wasn't
didn't
enough
care.
setup on
Yeah.
that part. I think.
Well, Jason Momoa, the Jason Momoa character, what's his name?
Tariq? Not Tariq.
Tariq?
The guy with the shirtless?
Yeah.
That's Jason Momoa?
Yeah, Khal Drogo.
Okay, sure. Okay.
He says, I never liked that pilot.
Yeah.
And you're like, we never saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes me think that there's probably some other scenes, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not
they're
saying
just
there's
playing
not.
cards,
I'm
you
not
know.
because it's an hour longer. So I'm not saying it's just. But that's what my fear is. That
Yeah.
it's more just in seeing interviews. Because even in the trailers, a lot of people are saying none of the stuff that was in the trailer, and I was like, yeah, but that you can tell that's all part 2 because that's like backstory to Titus, backstory to I can't remember that guy's character's name, but
Tariq?
yeah.
Because they say he's a
you
king.
see
They
that-
say
yes.
he's a
And you
king or
see him
something.
in-
It was either Tariq or Tariq. I can't remember.
It's
It might have been
Tarek, I think. But you see
like
him.
Tariq.
You see
Tariq.
him in the trailer that came out. You see him at the funeral of his father, and he's like dressed nice and he has short hair.
Yeah.
And there's the bird in the back,
Buckbeak.
and so I think all that kind of stuff. And you see, there's also a scene of Nemesis holding her child, and the back of the whole city's burning. So all those things, I'm like, I don't think those are in part 1. I think those are all
Yeah.
going to be in part 2. So yeah, for me, I agree with you guys on the pilot character. They have the one scene before where he's like, "Hey, I want to leave everything,"
And that's a good.
and that
that's
was a good scene. But I think that should have happened a little before
Yeah.
that moment because it's right before that
It's
he
just
betrays
so
them.
quick.
But yeah, to me again, I see those complaints and it didn't bother me as much. I think it was still enjoyable for me. I think part of it is because I know I don't have to wait, a year, 2 years for part 2. It's like, oh, it's already, they filmed them back to back. They even had a trailer at the end of part 1 for part 2 that I thought, oh, that trailer looks pretty good. The other thing that I think a lot of people were complaining about, if you're new to Zack Snyder, some people love his slow-mo, some people hate it. Again, that's not something that bothers me because I know that's what you're going to get with Zack Snyder. It's like he's going to have slow-mo scenes. I didn't think it was too much, but I enjoy his slow motion scenes. I think they're cool, especially we talked about the shots, like when they're shooting at them and you see it go slow and it kind of hits the back and the lava kind of hits out. That I thought was a cool and unique look. But yeah, for me, I know Josh didn't like it as much. He thought it was too much.
My favorite slow-mo was the slow-mo.
The grain. There you go.
My favorite slow mo was the bird flying by. I was like, why is this in slow mo?
Where she reaches her hand up?
No.
touches it?
When she's talking about, like, she's like, oh, Princess Issa, I saw lots
Like
of
the
things that
little
were strange,
rover.
and it's like the dog running in. It wasn't as slow mo as all the rest, but it was slowed down enough. And then she brings the bird back, and it like goes, like, I was like, we didn't need that slow mo.
Bro, there were so many unnecessary slow motion shots where like nothing actually was happening. Like there's some where it's like even like transition pieces where it's like, did they accidentally slow it down? Like, there's nothing interesting like visually in that 5 seconds of slow motion. There's a couple parts where I kind of laughed a little bit because I was like, come on, like all this slow motion that you're using, you could have used on character development.
That's true.
Like, there's only 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like 10 minutes of it was slow motion. It's like, yeah.
The slow motion scene I did like was when she's on the battlefield.
Yeah, that was
cool because then it's like
wasn't bad.
she's shooting and then they speed it up a little bit and then they go back to slow mo. I thought that was cool, and I thought the Nemesis fight in slow mo was cool. So like when there's certain action scenes that I think like benefit from it and it looks cool, I think that's fine. But yeah, like the grain and the bird flying by, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit much.
Yeah,
because there wasn't
just heavy-handed.
There wasn't a ton in like his Man of Steel, his BVS, Justice
I
League.
don't think there's any in Man of Steel. The only part I can think of is when he's not in the fights, but when he's when the world engine's going and he's like going, and he's saving up and he goes up. It goes in slow motion for a little bit when he's flying.
I thought it was because it was so hard for him to fight against it.
But it looks slow motion.
I think there's a little slow mo in the water.
More. I guarantee
when he's waking up, his eyes go.
Oh yeah,
his slow mo. Yeah, or it's the motion of the water.
Yeah, but there's not much. I don't think there is much.
Yeah, not really.
So BBS.
That's why I like Man of Steel so much.
Oh no, when Kevin Costner goes like this, puts his hand out. That's slightly slow mo. Slightly slow.
Maybe it's
but nothing like his other stuff.
Look a little slow.
And BBS I can't think. But yeah, I mean this is more of his.
Yeah, it definitely felt a lot more like your
300
Watchmen,
kind of style.
300 that, and I would agree. I would say normally it doesn't bother me. There's just something about it just felt a little bit too much for me this time around.
I was watching the last fight of the whole thing between her and the bad guy, right? Cora and what'd you call him? Noble. That fight was just not intense. It didn't feel like there was like a lot of like writing on it. Like it just wasn't. If you watch it back, you'll see this one shot where slow motion, but like she does this. She's not punching like this, right? She's not cocking her punch back like a normal person.
Straight?
It's straight out, and she is swinging it like a bat. It is like so dumb. I was just like, no way.
It's a special move.
That's just the bat swinging arms.
Have you ever been punched like that? That might hurt really bad.
They would never hit.
Might hurt really bad.
There was some choreography stuff. Like I said before, that was the biggest one where I was like, this fight is not believable in my opinion. But
I'll have to rewatch it because that was one of my highlights. When I watched it, that final fight with them, I was like, this feels like they're actually landing hits.
Okay.
Like for me, it was like, it felt more visceral in the way like them landing hits and stuff I felt like I wish that was done in more superhero movies. Cause to me, it felt like it was,
the best part with that fight was when it broke the cane thing, the stick cane, whatever the heck that was.
Well, even when she like breaks his arm and she's doing that kind of stuff. That to me was like, it feels like they're doing.
It was that one distinct punch. I was like, okay.
I think she did it a couple times.
She did this like overhead slam.
That was a little good.
It's a weird. Yeah.
Well, she's trained to do it that way, guys. In the planet, that's what the mother world.
In the director's cut, we're gonna get an explanation
why she does it.
Yeah.
Gunner's like, what? Can you teach me how to punch? And she's like, sure. This is called the hammer
Lock
punch.
your elbow.
They teach you this in the mother world when you're growing up.
I learned this from the other
scenes. The bigger the movement, the more power it is.
So the thing, what I like another thing I liked about the movies is I enjoyed the names. To me, I thought they were cool. Yeah. There's something about when you come up with character names, you want to have them be cool. I thought, what's hers? Arthaleus.
Her true name.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Just little stuff like that made me be like more intrigued about it. Belisarius, I like that name, and I really like the scene where she does the flashback.
Okay, so I was going to mention that as one of the things I liked.
That was a cool scene. The armor was cool.
Yeah,
him showing up and then putting, her pulling him, setting the the chamber back, and then her pulling the trigger, and then him taking her. I thought that was a cool way to kind of visualize why, when she says, I don't know why he took me. but it was like, well, because you were going to kill him. Like that was a test to see what your mentality was, right? And so I just thought that was kind of cool, just the way that was shot. And I think, like you guys said, if that was done a little more with some of the other characters, where you get a little backstory, it probably would have been hit better for more people.
Yeah,
and I think it's a challenge to have like that much set up for. I think there's 6 main characters. Yeah. There was 7, but I mean that I recognize that that's not easy to do. So
I kind of wanted them to do more with the bad guy when they kind of got to the village. Yeah, they killed the leader, but like I wanted them to be a little bit more. Like you said, there's going to be a director's cut, but I don't want gross, but I just wanted cruel. I wanted a little more cruel to hate him more. Like for me, he just looked kind of weird with like a little button-up shirt with a tie. I didn't like that. Like I'm not a huge fan.
It didn't
like,
work.
It doesn't hit well. It's not scary.
Maybe if he had a skull
it's not
on his
menacing.
little tie.
I mean, when he had his thing on without the tie, I thought that looked cool.
Like the Nazi
like
suit?
More of the Nazi suit and
that was all right. Yeah, and the like battle scenes and stuff. Yeah.
And I liked his little staff thing. I thought that was cool. The other thing I'm curious what it's going to be like in the director's cut is the 3 people that come out with him, like the priests.
The Night Sisters.
They're like wearing the red and they've got this really cool masks.
They're really
but
tall.
apparently what they do, and I read this before the movie came out, but there was this whole article about they basically they use people as USB devices. Like they'll basically go into a place and
to like
connect somebody, and what they'll do is they just live kind of like that thing you talked about that was connected to the person, but they basically do that with people, and they get all their memories and all the history of the world and all this kind of stuff, and they go around with them. So like that's how the mother world gets. But the way they talked about, they're like, it's really creepy. And I was like, that's probably going to be in the director's cut is they're going to have more to do because they always show up with him, and they're I thought they were really cool design, but that's going to be something that they'll probably show more of.
They kind of mention something like that, don't they? When they kill the informant or whatever, they're like, oh, he's still fresh, take or whatever, get his memories or something like that.
His brain.
Yeah.
The other character that I really liked that, again, we didn't get enough of, but I thought what they set up with them was really cool just on little moments of dialogue was Jimmy, the droid. I thought it was cool that they were like, when they murdered the king and the daughter, they basically shut down, like they don't fight anymore. And I thought that was a really cool, like, well, why not? He seems to have all this like history, more of like a spiritual side of it, to be like, she was special. And when the character, the blonde girl on the village, when she touches,
you mean Princess Issa?
When she touches his face, and it lights up the side. Yeah. I just thought that was really cool, pretty unique. And then at the end, the way he shot the guy was cool. He's holding the gun, and he's just like shoots him right. Like that was really cool. I thought little small subtle things, but even at the end when you see him when he comes out and he's got the horns now and he's more like
he evolved.
That was a cool. I thought that was a really cool character. And Anthony Hopkins' voice is really awesome doing the backstory there and the narration. But I'm intrigued to see what he plays, because I think that's a cool story beat that I was intrigued just with the little drops that they gave, like of information. Like we don't know a ton of information, but even the soldiers like, oh, they gave us one of those. They gave us a Jimmy, right? And that was a cool.
I like how he was like, I don't even know what he said. He's like, we go, Jimmy. He like did like a weird like hoot. That guy was an idiot.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mac.
I was just gonna say I agree. I think the way that they set up his backstory was what I wanted from the other characters.
Yeah.
Like, it was still pretty quick, but just the way they did it with just small little emotional beats, and I felt more of a response from those scenes with Jimmy than any of the other actual human characters.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. And this is like what I left watching the movie. I felt this way was I felt empty on a lot of the characters.
Yeah,
a lot of missed opportunities. And sure, you can keep saying part 2 is going to fill it in that gap, but taking it as a movie on itself, like that needs to pay off. He needs to pay off, and he will. He will. He was a great character. He's one of the best parts of it. But these other characters, it's just they just fell so short of what even just 1 or 2 minutes of just a little bit of investment. Like, oh, he got picked on and then someone stood up for him. And that just made a world of a difference, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, yeah, there's Jimmy. Okay. You know, that's basically what happened with Titus was, oh, there's Titus. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's one great general. He's so amazing and epic. It's like, that's awesome. But let's experience him firsthand.
Yeah, you needed a little more scenes with him interacting with
it. Literally, it was just 2 or 3 minutes with each character, and I would have felt a lot better with these characters.
Yeah, I think the Jimmy like scene and I guess character arc, however short it is, I think it's probably my favorite part of the movie, and it sets it up interestingly. And I like what they're playing with the idea of like, well, he is a robot, but is there something spiritual involved? You know what I mean? So I thought that was cool, and I'm excited to see.
Like he has morals and stuff.
Right?
It's
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it seems like there's something about them that they're not just there's like they were created for a certain reason. Like more so, like they feel more like priests to me. Does that make sense? Like or if you're going the fantasy route, they're more like mages, right? There's something about them that they're not just. You know, because even, that's the vibe I got. Like, there's more lore to them, and even the shot at the end,
they feel like religious monks to me.
Yeah, and the shot at the end, even with the horns, to me, it was like that's a mage shot. That's like a Merlin.
That's a wizard if I've ever seen
you know,
one.
No,
Where's his staff?
He was holding a staff. I'm pretty sure he was holding a staff.
Remember the shots of the Vanity Fair shoot with the horns.
Yeah, and he's got the flowers.
Right?
That's Jimmy, and that's him at the end.
He had a staff.
Yeah, so to me, that's what it gave me, that like Merlin vibe,
Homie's
and I was like,
"Wizard
that's cool.
Jimmy."
Homie's casting fireball, dude.
He might be able to,
or lava shot, dude.
Lava shot. But yeah, so I'm intrigued about that, and that's the kind of stuff, like I said, that I think part 2 is going to be really good. And I think we're going to get more of that backstory of the characters.
I hope so.
And then I just think watching them back to back is going to be a different experience. But again, the director's cut's coming out. I'm a little nervous about that.
When is it?
I think it also comes out in
week?
April.
Oh, April.
No, it doesn't come out for a while.
Ah, darn. Yeah.
I think it comes out like a couple weeks before part 2 comes out. But I'm probably wrong about that.
Okay.
Because I'm wrong a lot on this podcast when it comes to dates.
We all are.
But that's my concern. Because just from seeing some interviews,
It's gonna be lots of boning.
I hope it's not HBO style.
I think that's what it's going to be, though. Because I think
not sexual, you know.
I think that's what it's meant to be. And so
I'm okay if it's more brutal, because I think there needed to be a little bit more brutality with that bad guy. And the way you were talking about, where he's like, "Whoa, we went over the line." I mean, that kind of scares me a little bit. Of maybe some possible.
There is one scene in the thing where he's like. The guy comes in, he's like putting stuff in his body, and there's like a tentacle thing in the background.
Or gullet.
I'm pretty sure, he's doing stuff with the tentacle.
Okay, there's other stuff. Okay, gotcha. Little
Zach.
don't tell PETA. You know
What are you doing?
Because in an interview, he said that that noble has he has some really interesting
views,
sexual like things and.
That's
there was references to
development we're looking for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what
This isn't the character development.
That's what I'm afraid is. I think there's going to be those scenes in there that are, to me, are unnecessary. Like even at the beginning, you know, where the farmers are like, "Have sex tonight."
Well, yeah, we know that.
So I'm like, is there going to be like a 5-minute slow-mo scene of them having sex, farmers having sex?
If that's the case, I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably not gonna watch the director's cut. I don't need to see all that. So that's too bad if that's the case, which it sounds like that is the case. So that's.
I'm just saying
you've got a good.
That's
read
just
on
from
it.
what I've gathered from people talking in interviews. They're like, it goes hard, and so I'm like, okay, well,
literally.
So
wow.
I hope not. And that's why I say this when you're like, well, why didn't you just? I feel like the reason they did that is because they're like, well, we want kids to watch the PG-13 version. Like if you make the rated R Zack Snyder version, you're really going to cut down how many people watch it. This way, you're going to get more people watch PG-13, and then maybe the same amount of people watch this one. But if you just do the R-rated and you have all that stuff in there, you really lose your view. A lot of your
parents
viewership.
don't care anymore. Kids these days are watching all sorts of terrible things.
But see, now I can watch Rebel Moon with Maya. But
plus, and we get to campaign for release the Snyder
release
Cut
the. That's the thing that's the thing that's driving me nuts though. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's just doing this." I was like, wasn't his choice. Like Netflix is saying, "Hey, give us a PG-13 version and you can do whatever you want, film whatever you want." And people are making be like, "Oh, it's a gimmick. He's trying to." I was like, "No, he always likes his R-rated versions. He has one for each movie he's done."
Guardians of Gahul doesn't have an R-rated cut.
No, and apparently I heard that there's a Zack Snyder director's cut of Man of Steel that he's never been like,
release the Man of Steel cut. What are we calling it?
I'd take more Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. But anyways, are we done with Rebel Moon talk? We good?
I think so.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say, my pet peeve was so many people that I was just seeing, either on IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes, that you could tell they didn't watch the movie with any intention to critique it fairly. It was just like, this sucks. This is the worst movie ever. This is garbage. The Snyder Cult is the worst. Like,
Zack Snyder hated
and
it,
even critics that you were like, it's your job to be a critic, and you're going in and just talking about stuff that isn't even about the movie. Like one guy was like, 5 minutes in, I already know this is going to be complete trash because it's a Zack Snyder movie. I'm like, then you're not interested in giving us a favorable review. So I would just say, if you haven't seen it and you're just looking at the Rotten Tomatoes or critic scores, I'd say watch it. There's some good things in it. And then make up your decision for yourself. If you hate it, you hate it. But it's not the worst movie of the year or of the decade, like many people are saying. I've watched way worse movies this year.
Ridiculous claim.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's not anything spectacular. No. I think visually it's good. But I think there is a lot of room for improvement. And I really do. I'm very confident in my 6.2. I think that's a pretty...
And I'm very confident in my 8.2.
I think that's embellished.
I'm confident in it though.
If you like sci-fi, it's a fun sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that's like, I think the audience scores like 60 something %, and like critic scores like 25%, which is crazy. But I think that's the problem is people just want to like. I think we talked about it with Morbius, where people would be
people love to hate. People love to hate.
Oh, Morbius! I heard that's the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh, but did you really watch it?
It's
though?
not
Like,
the worst.
Oh, well, no, I just heard it was really bad. It's like, oh, then you didn't watch it.
Yeah, no one watched Morbius.
Watch
Exactly.
Suicide Squad.
We watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Well, that's the thing
Watch
too.
Suicide Squad.
That's the thing too.
So bad.
Like
I got so mad at that.
I did a little rant on our TikTok. You can go check it out. But IGN gave Rebel Moon a 4.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that to me is nuts. When they gave Thor: Love and Thunder a 7, they gave The Flash, they gave it a 7. Like they gave Morbius a 5. Like those movies are not
they're
better than Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
And to me that's the kind of stuff that's just ridiculous. But I mean, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance is a 7 on IGN. It's absolutely insanity.
Well, that's a classic.
So I'm like, IGN, I can see giving it a 6, 4. Come on, that's just.
I mean, it's IGN.
It's IGN.
I know, but
don't listen to them.
I would not ever take IGN as truth.
IGN sucks. You heard it here.
If you
let us know what
accurate reviews, you stay here.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have the whole.
Give Rebel Moon
-2, -8. Just average our scores out. That's probably what it is.
That'll do it for our Rebel Moon discussion. Let us know in the comments anywhere you're listening to this.
You guys watched it because
let us know what you thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't shame you if you gave it a 4 or a 3.
It's fine.
If you gave it a 9 or an 8, like me, we won't shame you either. But we're gonna move on. We got some news, random stuff. We're not really prepared.
It's been a while since we did the podcast. We had a little bit of break. Sorry, guys. But we have a lot of news that came out. A lot of things happened. One of the biggest things was Jonathan Majors.
Major news.
Major news with Jonathan Majors. He got convicted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Found guilty of something, battery or assault or something like that. He's fired from Marvel. I'm sure you guys heard.
He
of it.
gone.
Yeah, so they're moving on from him.
Do we think we're pushing Kang to the side? Are we recasting? What's happening with the Kang boy?
I mean, at this point, I have not really invested in Kang at all. I think it was you that suggested, like, just bring in Doctor Doom. Just
have Doctor Doom kill.
Just
I've got their solution.
Clean up everything. Just give me Doctor Doom.
At the end of Ant-Man, all the Kangs are assembled in that stadium, hooping and hollering. So the next, they're like, wow! They're like, we're back
playing basketball.
That's what they're doing. That's
they're hollering.
That's what they're doing.
Oh,
They're going. That's the weirdest scene I think in Marvel where they're like, wow! Right? They're like freaking out, like we're all here together. Yeah, we're gonna do some crazy stuff. But I'm like, have them all
And
there.
he did.
So the scene is the next post-credit scene. It goes back to that same scene. They're all hooping and hollering. A ship drops down. I don't know why I keep saying hooping, but hooting and hollering.
Hooping.
A ship drops down. Doctor Doom comes out and he kills all the Kangs.
Oh, that's that.
Then you
I'm on
know.
board.
Wow. that was so well
Then
thought.
you know.
I'm on board.
He means business because they set up this bad guy and one dude takes all the Kangs out. There you go. There's your big bad.
Wow.
And then you set him up.
So
Bob Iger,
through.
send me the check.
Oh,
Feige, you know where to find me.
I think they've done so much that they have to just recast him. Personally, I think they recast him and they follow through Kang. Bye bye.
Who do you recast him with? You better say Denzel Washington.
I was gonna say Samuel L. Jackson, but he's already taken.
Ooh.
There was a rumor that
like
Will
him.
Smith wasn't like.
He's a good bad guy now. He's a bad guy.
First line, he's a broken man.
My
Oh,
wife's
but he assaulted someone though. So
He did. He's out.
yeah, he's probably off.
Prematurely fired.
Yeah, isn't he banned from the Oscars?
He is
For like
but who
10 years or
cares?
something.
I mean, I wish
Disney
they banned me
won't-
from the Oscars.
Disney will not play a game with him. They won't hoop with him or holler with him.
Hey, Disney is always up for a
I don't know.
redemption
You guys
story.
know actors better than me. Who would you recast him as or with?
It's got to be Tom Cruise.
Gotta be Tom Cruise.
The obvious answer. Mr.
Gotta
Cruz.
be. I don't know.
Michael B. Jordan.
No, he's already been. The problem is, like, all these actors have already. A lot of these actors have already
that's
been
right.
in MCU movies.
Yeah, he's the
John David Washington.
Killmonger.
You can't if you can't get
Wait, who?
Denzel. You get Denzel
Denzel.
Jr. Baby.
Oh yeah.
He'd be pretty good.
Yeah. Although, I'd really rather him play like a fun superhero though,
Like Jon Stewart.
like Jon Stewart.
You need someone multifaceted.
If you're going to be able to recast, you should be able to cast any race. This is perfectly
You want
done for
Awkwafina?
Henry Cavill.
I think Aquafina's perfect.
Awkwafina. No,
Henry
she's already been in
Cavill.
it. She's already been in
Should.
it. Henry Cavill's the only one who hasn't.
I thought someone suggested Terrence Howard, which would be pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
bring him back.
Yeah, bring him back. Yeah, hey, you're not Rhodey no more, but you're Kang.
Oh,
Kang.
yeah.
How? Hey,
I think they move. I don't think they recast. I think we slowly.
you kind of have to explain him not being around because they did so much with Loki, and this.
Loki was
I mean,
it was 100%.
and the movie Kang Dynasty. Now they're
rewriting it,
but
though.
I'm like, but you have to say something about Kang. Be like,
sure, it's gonna be. They're gonna toss up. This is what they always
Yeah.
do. They're gonna throw out one line. And they're like, "Well, remember that King guy? He was pretty crazy." Anyway,
they'll be like, yeah,
Junior.
Kanky
Donkey
Kong.
King.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, what happened to Kang? He's like, yeah, Iron Man broke up with her. That's what they do with Pepper Potts. He's like, yeah, they're going through a breakup. Okay, well,
that was a good one.
Kang's the new CEO.
Hey man,
of
that'd
Stark
be funny if
Industries.
they did something so brief like that. That'd be funny.
and they all look at the camera.
And like
I'm
the
ready to go.
title screen changes. It's like it's not Kang Dynasty. It's something.
It's like
else.
The Office, like Jim Halpert look at the
crossed
camera. They go,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm
In Deadpool, they're going to do just like a joke thing at the end,
They'll
and
just
they're gonna be
kill
like,
Kang.
"Okay,
that might work.
And he'll say so much for Kang Dynasty.
Hey,
everyone will just laugh." Dude.
Yeah,
That
he'll
might-
accidentally
yeah.
kill like the whole Kang line
Yeah.
for some stupid thing. Yeah,
I
it's
get
Deadpool,
that.
it works, kind of a
That's-
thing.
Hey,
I could see them doing something stupid like that, but it works because you can do whatever you want with Deadpool.
It's true.
could you get the guy that is playing Titus
Oh, that'd be bad, eh?
in Rebel Moon to play Kang?
I wish.
What's his name?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how he acts.
Jamon Hansu.
I don't know how he acts. I didn't really hear much from him.
Yeah, but you've seen him in Shazam.
Oh, that's true. The
and in Gladiator.
Wizard.
And in Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
And in Never Back Down. Pretty good street
And
ball.
in Aquaman.
Really?
And in Gladiator.
Wow. Okay.
I already said Gladiator.
And in Shazam.
I've seen I've seen 2 hours worth of it. Wow, holy crap.
And
You didn't need any character development. You've seen all you wanted. You just take all his characters and you're like, I know Titus.
That's him.
Yeah, there you go.
No, there
So that's the Jonathan Major news. Major news.
Wait, he's already been in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, he has. Can't bring
Dang
him
it,
up.
you're right.
That's the
Who
problem. That's
hasn't-
the problem with
Who
the MCU.
hasn't been in
You got to
Marvel?
get like an unknown actor.
Actors.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Timotei,
I got Kang. I got Kang for you.
Timotei.
He's already going to be
That's
Bruce
Kang
Wayne.
Jr., baby. It is Timotei, by the way.
Timothy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Timothy.
Well, let us know in the comments who you would recast
Yeah, let us
as
know.
Kang. Other news.
Oh, sure.
Aquaman came out and none of us watched it.
That is crazy.
So-
we
That
didn't
movie
watch
came
it.
out?
Yep.
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
And it's terrible.
Why didn't we watch it?
I had
because
absolutely
wants to
no
watch it.
interest.
Because it was busy. Christmas.
Yeah, it was bad timing, huh?
Do you guys, are you guys really interested in watching it?
I like
I
like
wanna-
Black Manta.
He should play, he could play Kang.
Oh, that's actually true. He's pretty good.
Or the guy they got to play Blade, he just doesn't do Blade and does Kang. They're like, we got you a new job. The Blade movie sucks.
We heard you hate what's going on with Blade.
Yeah, so I don't know
He
if
got 80% audience score.
People love it. I don't think it's doing great.
That's pretty
box
I think
office
it
wise.
dropped 30% or
Yeah.
something.
Which is okay. So this is crazy, right? Why did they mess so much with Aquaman? Like this, they're on like he was on his like fourth set of reshoots.
If they were just
when
gonna
it wasn't
end it.
going to lead to anything. It's like just let James Wan make his
I'm telling
movie
ya.
instead of being like, you're gonna have to do this and change this.
I'm telling you why.
Incredible.
It's because James Gunn wants all these movies to suck so that when Superman Legacy comes out, he can be like, ooh, it made $700 million at the box office. That's way more than the $200 million Aquaman and the $200 million Shazam. Like, I just think he wanted to tank this universe so that you have a whole year of no movies.
it.
When Superman Legacy comes out, it's like, yeah, look at what a great box office. There's no reason you would have to reshoot, especially if it's not connecting and they already knew it wasn't going to connect.
So
But
it's okay. I'll remember Aquaman 1.
some of the rumors are that they were it was connecting to the Snyderverse, and that's what they reshot because they're like they don't want to have people saying like, "Oh, but Aquaman said Ben Affleck's showing up."
but they put George Clooney in the Flash.
I know that, and that was James Gunn's
Crazy.
idea.
Oh, and then did you see that quote where he's like, "I will never," like he said, "I will never do a superhero movie."
And that was
Even though
just
he
James
got
Gunn being like,
teased for
"This
the
would
next
be
one.
funny.
Yeah.
This would be so funny." And it was again, he's just trying to tank it. That's what the whole point of it.
Did Amber Turd end up showing up?
Yeah,
She's in it 5 minutes. They said.
Okay. And then they flushed her.
Did.
Nice.
So yeah, if you watched Aquaman, let us know in the comments below. What's your rating? We'll use that as our official Nerd Age podcast rating. I'm sure one of us will watch it eventually, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'll watch it in
George
theaters though.
George Clooney's quote was, "There's not enough drugs in the world to get me to reprise the role of Batman."
Oof.
So,
But Bruce Wayne's okay.
yeah, Bruce Wayne's fine.
Oh yeah, he did that.
I wonder how much
that
he
was
got paid for that.
Crazy.
Dumbest idea to
Crazy.
do that. Why? Especially when they had already filmed the ending with Henry Cavill, with Sasha Cale's Supergirl, Ben Affleck lost in time. He's basically in the Snyderverse, and you could have set all that stuff up and then been like, it didn't work out. It doesn't work out. But the ending would have worked better than George Clooney showing up and Ezra Miller's tooth falling out. It was like, really? Like, this is the great writing. James Gunn was like, hey, let me give you some notes. This is a great ending. George Clooney shows up. Ezra Miller's, the Flash's tooth falls out.
Remember that when he glued his tooth in?
Yeah? Isn't that great? All right. We're doing it.
Yeah, what a great send-off to Ben Affleck's Batman.
Just
Talk about
absolutely
great payoffs.
so dumb. Anyways, We got some video games leaked.
Oh,
Some big leaks.
Yeah, it was really weird. Randomly, GTA 5's source code got leaked to just basically got released in the wild internet. And basically, you can play GTA 5 if you find the code and you can emulate it for free, which is pretty bad, but also who cares? But it never happens. That never happens. So it's pretty crazy that I think Rockstar got hacked, and a lot of other things also came out where Bully 2 was a game that was being developed, got canceled in 2017, apparently. There was at least...
And they didn't tell anybody?
There was at least 5 other expansion single-player game additions to GTA 5 that were canceled as well. Apparently, a lot of these cancellations were because of Red Dead Redemption development. So
Good
this
trade-off.
stuff happens. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably better. But yeah, just kind of interesting. A lot of secrets being revealed because of hackers and stuff like that. Hackers being sued because of that as well. But yeah, kind of an interesting kind of turn of events.
Yeah, I saw that the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game, a bunch of this stuff got leaked too. And there was a big uproar about people saying how crappy that game was going to be. The big thing they kept saying was, because you hated this game, but Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
So people were like, if you thought Gotham Knights was bad,
No way.
that's what they were saying.
Really?
Again, they're just reacting to like what the story is that was released.
No
And
actual like gameplay.
a lot of there is gameplay and cutscenes. And so I saw a big one that people were complaining about was Kevin Conroy, what happens with his Batman character, because they said this was his last voice acting as Batman.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't do that to Kevin Conroy. So a lot of people were upset about that. So that's kind of, who knows if that game will even come out now.
Yeah. It's been pushed so many times. Hasn't it?
Well, and
James Gunn's trying to tank it.
I don't know, but when James Gunn, when James Gunn,
Kevin Conroy. Yeah.
when James Gunn took over, he did mention that
They wanna do
everything
video
was going to be
games.
connected.
Yeah.
And if you voiced a character in the video games, you'd be the same character in the movies. He's now backtracked and walked that back. But one of the things I read was that they want to focus more on mobile gaming
Yeah.
to connect with the universe, which I'm like, okay, it's not video games.
Trash.
But we'll see with whatever they do with that. But
Yeah.
who knows? That game's been delayed so many times, and they're basically reworking it again. So
Yeah.
Who cares? No one really cares about this game. I don't know.
I used to.
I don't hear people.
You found that?
We used to.
Way back in the day.
When we thought it was gonna there was a big announcement that
The
this
Superman
new
game.
Rocksteady game,
Oh yeah,
or Rocksteady.
yeah.
So
It's just weird. What was yours, Josh? What was your game news?
So some hackers, I can't remember what the name of the group is, a hacking group basically told Sony's Insomniac, they were like, you need to pay us $2 million by this date or we're going to leak like 13 terabytes of data.
Yeah.
And of course, Sony Insomniac was like, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
that's right. And they released
And
it
then
all.
they raised, and then they released it. So they leaked a bunch of gameplay footage for the Wolverine game that's coming out. They leaked a ton of like employee information, which sucks for them.
That sucks.
And then they leaked a bunch of like internal documents about what their upcoming slate is going to be.
Anything good? We don't give
So we don't
terrorist information.
We don't condone this behavior, but
But we did
That being
we did get some interesting news that came out of it.
I mean, it's also the
Breaking
reason.
news.
It's also the reason why the GTA 6 trailer came out early because
Right,
it got
'cause they got
hacked and
leaked.
it was leaked as well.
Yeah.
So
That trailer sucked anyways.
that trailer has the most views in 24 hours.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, doesn't make it good.
true. Just makes it popular.
Good point.
So
That's like the opposite problem we have here at the Nerd Age.
it's so good,
It's
no
so
one
good, no one's
watches.
watching
And
it.
yeah, it's so yeah.
We're laughing, but
Maybe
we're
we should
actually
suck a
crying.
little
crying
more
inside.
and get millions of views.
Sure.
We're just too good for
Jonah's
that. We
not-
just have high standards.
Jonah's not going to get on this table and twerk.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, millions of views if I did.
Yeah.
You should tattoo your face like the Joker.
Oh yeah. Do you see that
Damaged.
guy's trying
Yeah,
to
that
get
guy's trying to sue.
$2 million because they used his likeliness or whatever?
Yeah.
Really?
But he's also copying the Joker. So
In so fact,
It's called Double Jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy.
It's Inception.
Well, in the Insomniac slate basically looks like they're planning a DLC after Spider-Man 2 that's Venom focused.
Okay.
So that'll be kind of
good
like
thing you
the
played
Are you ready to give us your review yet?
I did finish the story.
Okay. Stick around. We'll have a review finally. What else, Josh?
so that's going to be kind of like the Miles Morales game was that led into Spider-Man 2.
Right.
It'll lead into Spider-Man 3. And then they're also saying there's going to be the Wolverine games probably coming out in 2005 or 6.
2005.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Back in time.
Back in time.
Whoa. Me and Nick are the only ones who got that.
Sorry.
2005.
Let's go.
Let's go, Marty.
2025.
We got to get back and play that game.
2025.
And then that's going to kick off more X-Men games. So there's going to be another X-Men game after that. And then looks like a team up like game just
cool.
focused on the
Crossover.
X-Men.
Nice.
So by 2045,
2030.
Okay.
By
I think they're
2030.
basically it's
By
just
2007, we'll get an X-Men game.
but yeah, I think it's kind of exciting to get I'm excited for the Wolverine game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting just thinking of getting the Spider-Man game, but just with X-Men. I think sounds pretty dope. So if we're around to see it,
Yeah.
Might all die.
They also had plans for Ratchet and Clank as well.
yeah.
So Spider-Man, X-Men, and Ratchet and Clank extended into the 2030s. That was their whole plans.
Any Nintendo leak?
That got leaked.
No, Nintendo's locked down, baby.
Nah, lockdown.
They lock
baby.
tight.
That's right.
Nice.
Is that? What else was there? Was there anything else? Or was that pretty much it for the news?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I didn't do my homework.
That's okay.
Been a little busy, so
Honestly,
a little light on news.
the fact that we're here
I don't think there's really
today is great.
there ain't no news. It's the holidays.
I did want to say for next week or next time we do the podcast, we like to do our most anticipated list.
Oh,
So,
right.
if you guys can find your list, or I'll listen back and get our list. But what I want to do is we'll go through our list and pick a winner.
Like
so
whose
list was the best based on if you have something on your list that didn't come out that year, because Josh has Masters of the Air. I have
I'm 3 off. Actually.
I have another. I think I have some other stuff that I put on there. But if that didn't come out, then you don't get a point for that. And then we're gonna discuss, because I think my 1 was Ahsoka and my 2 was Tears of the Kingdom. So I think those hit pretty good for me. It's my 1 and 2. But we'll have to go through, because I had the Flash on there, and I think I had Aquaman.
No.
I didn't.
No, none of us had a DC movie on.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. You dodged a bullet.
Okay.
Because we were like, this is crazy that we're not. No one has a DC.
Yeah.
Thing
So I think what we'll do is we will go through our list, pick a winner, someone who had the best list, and then we'll do our most anticipated list for 2020.
2005.
2020, 2005
for next year.
Well, last time we had a third party come in. Are we going to have another guest?
Let us know in the comments. Do you want to join us? We have to know who you are, first of all. But we'll do something, and then I think that'll be fun. And then you guys can also, if you want to think during the week, what your top 10 most anticipated could be for whatever. Josh had his table on there. So how many points is that going to get? Because we use this table. It's pretty high.
I'm probably going to bump it up the list, to be honest. It shouldn't have been a 10.
So think about your lists, and then you can share those with us. It can be anything that you're anticipating in the next year. Movies, games, board games. Yeah. Corey, you got any? We'll save it for next week.
I had Frosthaven for this year.
Did it come out? Did you play it?
Oh, I played it so much. I've played it so much.
We'll see. Maybe you should have me over.
We'll see.
Maybe you should have us over to play, so then we can decide if it's worth it or not. You get a point. It's gonna be a crazy episode, guys. Things are gonna get heated. We got plans.
I can just tell you how many hours I've played the game, and you guys will be like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can take your word for it.
I have.
There's a prize on the line.
I play with. Okay. There's a prize?
I don't know.
Okay. You just made that up on the spot.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube for the videos.
And this is the last episode of the year.
It is.
It is.
So for everyone who's hung with us this year. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for making this year awesome.
That's right. We appreciate it. We enjoy doing this. It's a way we get to hang out with each other and talk about things. So thanks for hanging out and listening to us. And we'll be back next year with more Nerd Age podcasts.
See you
later.
Bye, 23.
Bye, 23.